Wow, that looks good. Can't wait to have that. Alright, Messianic Michael back with you, and I'm really excited about today because, well, I'm having fish tacos for dinner, and we finally get to make the video showing how to make the fish tacos with our wonderful fish taco recipe that we use here in the Messianic Michael family. I want to remind everybody that to make fish tacos you have to acquire fish, and it's not too big of a stretch on the Lord's Prayer to pray, Lord, give us today our daily fish. James in the book of the Bible says you don't have because you don't ask. So the Lord has blessed us tremendously by praying for success in fishing. So next time you go fishing, remember to ask for God's help and success.
If you've watched Messianic Michael's other videos, you know that he likes to catch redfish and black drum, and we often come up with some saltwater catfish, and that's what I've picked today to make the fish tacos with. Because a lot of people think all you do with catfish is fry it, and some people fry their fish for fish tacos, but I like to either grill it outside, or I'll show you today how to saute it in a pan. You'll notice I have many of my ingredients spread out here on the table, and I wanted to show you that there's really nothing fancy about it, that you can do this and it's very accessible. First, this is fish that we caught before, and so we've had it in the freezer. It's been cleaned nicely, you can see that, and that goes a long way toward good flavor. And a little bit of water in there, and it's been in the freezer now thawing, and that's what I'm going to use today to make our fish. It's equally good with fresh fish. Also going to make some fresh salsa. There's a couple of things we do that make dinner really good when it's fish tacos. A little extra effort just here and there makes the whole meal more special, and one of those is homemade salsa. You can do it all the way fresh as pico de gallo with fresh diced tomatoes. Today I'm going to use canned petite diced tomatoes that starts with no seasoning in it, and we'll add some cilantro, some jalapenos, some garlic, salt and pepper, some lime juice. I think that's about it. We are not a big onion family, so feel free to add onion to yours. And then alongside the tacos, of course, we'll have fresh shredded cheese, some lettuce, sour cream. I'll make some guacamole with these avocados. I put some red wine vinegar in the salsa as well. And there's different things you can do. If you don't have any, that's okay. You can put in some lemon or lime juice. You can put in some jalapeno juice if you're using jalapenos from a jar. These jalapenos are from a jar. You can use fresh jalapenos or some other hot pepper. If you like cayenne, you like Tabasco, that's fine. Just experiment and see what you like. What I do, whether I'm making fresh salsa or using these canned tomatoes, is pour them into a colander in the sink and let the extra water drain off so that the salsa isn't runny. What we're going to do with this catfish is saute it in a pan with vegetable oil and Tony's. And then when it's done, I'll flake it apart with a fork and squeeze fresh lime juice on it to finish. It's really that simple. I'm back after a few minutes having done some of the food prep here, but I haven't cooked the fish yet. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. We have the finished salsa here, the guacamole that I hand crushed because we like it a little chunky, the fresh shredded cheddar cheese. Of course you can buy it pre-shredded, but then it's kind of dry. So that's one thing that just a little effort makes that special touch. This is iceberg lettuce that's been cut thin for the tacos. And then I do cook my tortillas again. Even though tortillas are cooked, it makes a big difference. You can heat up the flour tortillas in a dry frying pan until they're brown on both sides, not stiff, but browned, and then cook the corn tortillas. These are white corn, but white or yellow corn tortillas in some vegetable oil. Just a little. I don't do the deep fry. A little vegetable oil, hot pan, both sides, just a few seconds each. I'll probably serve the sour cream as I'm getting ready to cook this catfish now. This is the same frying pan that first, under dry heat, I cooked the tortillas. Then I added a little oil and cooked the corn tortillas. And now I'm going to cook the fish. You don't want to cook the tortillas after the fish. I also like to cook the fish last because it's really nice if it's hot and fresh. You know, if you order fajitas, for example, at a restaurant, you really want that to be hot and fresh coming out. Am I measuring? No, not really. I'm putting enough oil in here basically to coat the pan. This is a non-stick pan, so you might have to adapt that for your own. And it was still a bit warm from cooking the tortillas. You want to have your fish On the drier side, you can pat it dry or drain it for a while. If you put wet fish into hot oil, it's going to spatter a lot, which we don't want. So I'm going to cook them kind of like fillets here under medium-high heat. I put the heat on high at first, and I'll probably turn it down some as we go. That wasn't a super satisfying sizzle, but you know, so it is. We'll work on it for a while. It'll be fine. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some Tony's. That's all I use at this point. I've tried different things. You can try different things. But Tony's has all the things in it that we like. So, you know, why mess with it? I might turn the fish more than once, but I want to turn it now so I can get some seasoning on the other side. And you know, there might be real chefs out there cringing at this, but this is just how I get the flavor cooked in on both sides. I'm going to flip the fish. See, we're starting to get some nice browning on that side. That's kind of what we're looking for. We're going to want more of that before we're done, and of course the fish is cooking through. When it comes close to cooking through, it starts to flake more easily, and that's what I'm looking for. Being an imperfect cook, these fish are not cooking the same, and I can see that the first two fillets here are really just the way I like them. So I'm going to go ahead and separate them with a fork and get those out of the pan while the last one finishes cooking. Over into my waiting serving bowl. Okay, let me test this one. There we go. It just needed a few more seconds. I'm not going to turn the heat off yet because I still have some more fillets to cook. But first I'll show you what I do, the last step prior to serving it. If I weren't on video, I'd probably just hold this over my serving bowl, right, and scoop it all in. So let me just move, I'm going to move this pan off the heat for a moment and remind you what I said before, that the last step right before serving is to squeeze a lime. You know, if you roll the lime before you cut it, it'll loosen it up and you'll get more juice. And you just squeeze that right over the fish. And that is another small thing that you can do that makes a big difference in the flavor. Now I'm going to finish cooking the rest of the fillets. So I thought you'd like to see a taco put together. Not like you haven't seen one before, but the fish has been finished cooking. And I did think of one more thing to tell you, which is these tacos are delicious, but the leftover fish, not so much. So what I try to do is think about how many of us are going to be eating a given meal and cook just the right amount of fish. If you cook this on the grill, you can do it pretty much the same way. I put a piece of aluminum foil if you have a fancy plate for your outdoor grill, but you don't want it falling through a grate, so a piece of aluminum foil is just fine, and otherwise I do it the same way with a little oil and plenty of Tony's. I hope you enjoy this.